Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Christine. I'm going to talk about Poshmark today. I'm going to talk about, in my opinion, what the good, bad, and ugly of specifically selling on Poshmark. I'm also going to go a little bit into my experience with buying on Poshmark, but to be quite honest with you, my buying experience hasn't been nothing but wonderful on Poshmark. So I'm just going to talk about a little bit about it. But first, let's talk about what Poshmark is. Poshmark is a place where you can buy or sell used and new clothing, shoes, purses, accessories. You can actually even get probably, I'm not really sure used, you probably could, I don't know, but you can actually get new makeup on Poshmark. So you would go on the app specifically, but you can actually go via the computer too, or via the web too, to their site, just poshmark.com. But I think a lot of people utilize the app because as far as selling is concerned, the app has more features, especially when you're going to follow people, randomly follow people, because you can follow people in your city, you can follow people in your state, you can follow people by brands. We'll go a little bit more into following when I talk about selling on Poshmark. So you would go on, if you were looking at buying, you would go onto the app and you can either search by clothes type, you can search by pants, shorts, dresses. You can search by, Ann Taylor, Kate Spade, Betsy Johnson, Nike. They also have themed parties, and that is where the sellers will show specific types. Like a party might have Nike, Lululemon, Adidas, or another party might have J. Crew, Lucky, Rag and Bone, Free People, Anthropology. So actually two brands I didn't know about before I started looking on Poshmark, just to say it's not something in my area that you see a lot of those brands. So those two brands is something I didn't really know about beforehand. So you would, search, and then you would decide on what you would want. You would go to somebody's closet, and that's where people have, they call them their closets, where they have their section that they sell their merchandise on, and then they price the clothes themselves. And sometimes some of the sellers offer discounts. If you buy maybe two or more items, they might give you like a 5%, 10% discount on what you purchase. And then you could pay by PayPal, or you can pay by a credit card. I really wish I had known about Poshmark when my kids were younger, because I could have probably got some really, really nice stuff for a more reasonable price than you would get in the store. Yeah, it's used, but in most of the cases I've been, even though it's been used, they've been in great shape. If people are like me who buys stuff and never wears it half the time, some of the time, because you get in the habit of wearing the exact same stuff over and over and over again. It's in great condition, or doesn't wear it very much, and it's in great condition when you turn around and sell it. So, and the merchandise I have bought on Poshmark, I've gotten some dresses that I'm 5 feet 2 inches, and I really, really like the long dresses I could wear in the summertime with sandals. But I have a really, really hard time finding reasonable price dresses like that are not too long for me, because there's not a lot of clothes, unless you're looking at the petites, for people at 5 feet 2 inches. And sometimes the petites can be too small for me. And sometimes they're a little bit big. So sometimes I feel like I'm that in between us 5'2" to 5'4" people. We're kind of that in between people sometimes. So I've been able to get some dresses on there, and I've got my daughter who does cross country and track and field. I've been able to get her some Nike bras and some Nike compression pants, and my son, I've gotten him Nike Air Jordans, and my daughter likes American Eagle and Hollister, and I've actually got some reasonable priced jeans for her this past winter. So I've been able to get, and then stuff has come as described. So, nothing stained, or nothing with holes or tears or rips in them. No big long delay times of getting my merchandise. The times that, sometimes it comes nice and pretty wrapped up, sometimes not. It's always been nice in the box. So as far as a buyer, I would definitely give it 2 thumbs up for buying on Poshmark. Sorry. So great job, sellers. And not I'm not saying that just because I'm selling on Poshmark now. So how I got to, I've been doing Poshmark for almost a year now. And how I got into Poshmark in the first place was I was standing in line last year, the beginning of June, for my son's high school graduation, and this lady was standing behind me. You know, it's an hour wait in line. You got to get there an hour or two early just so you get a decent place inside the stadium. So I was standing in the line, and this lady behind me was talking to her friends about how she had this really cool app where she's bought used clothes, and she's gotten some name brands, and they've been in great shape, and she's gotten them for a reasonable price. And her husband chimed in about, you know, he too, it's been really, really great stuff, and the shoes that he was wearing they got on Poshmark, and the dress that she was wearing they got on Poshmark, and their experience was wonderful. And their friends like, hey, we got to check that out. So I'm like, you know, I have clothes that are sitting in my closet that I was, you know, going to be giving away to, you know, the shelter. Even though our shelter doesn't take clothes to give to the poor, they actually sell them and use that money for the poor. Or, you know, I was going to give away to Goodwill. I said, maybe I should check this app out and think about trying that out. So I went home. I looked at that next day, Saturday, I looked at the Poshmark app, and I thought, that's just interesting. You know, you just list your merchandise on there. It seemed pretty well easy to list. You just need to take a picture and put a description in there, put a price in there. You know, they look, sounds like fun. And then I went to some YouTube videos and watched Poshmark YouTube videos about how much money these people that are doing Poshmark, how much money that they're making, and the different things that you have to do on Poshmark. I'm like, whoa, that's great. You know, not looking, I have a full-time job. I'm blessed to be able to, on my full-time job that I've been with for the last 15 years, I've been able to work from home. So I've been blessed with that, so I could be home with my kids as they were growing up. And I do that, you know, 30 hours a week. So I really wasn't looking for something full-time, just looking for something part-time to make extra money. You know, maybe if I make some extra money, we could take some trips with the kids. Maybe, you know, get another used car for the kids, because now I would almost have 3 kids driving. So I thought, you know, this is a great way to make some extra money. So during the week, I went through my closet, my drawers, and pulled out clothes that were gently used, and you know, that I could relist or sell on Poshmark. And then during that week, I used a blanket. I had a blue blanket, nice chamois blanket. I used that to take pictures of the clothes, and then I uploaded the pictures and the descriptions to get ready to sell on Poshmark. And I think I got everything done and ready by Friday of that week. I think I started somewhere on Monday or Tuesday. So, and they have, as I said, they have theme parties, and I noticed that on Saturday they were having this theme party with like Nike and Adidas, and I thought, okay, I have some Nike pants in here, shorts in here, I should say. I'm just gonna get ready for that party. So I was, their party in Pacific time is 9 a.m. and I had gone out to a thrift store because I had started selling. The month prior, had started selling books on Amazon, and I was this local thrift store that we have has really, really great deals. They have 10 for $1 on books, and I always have really, really good luck with buying books at that thrift store. So I'm like, okay, I had gotten there before 9 o'clock so I can check out the books before somebody else comes in, and so I get a jump start on it. And then I was there, and I was waiting for the party to start at 9 o'clock. So as soon as it starts, I start sharing my Nike stuff to the people. And then about a couple minutes later, I get a notification that somebody had bought one of my shorts. I'm like, whoa, this is easy. I can't believe it. I just started this, and I already got a sale. I was all pumped. I kind of wonder if Poshmark somehow does something on purpose for that, because since the almost year of selling on Poshmark, that was the one and only time I have ever sold anything at a party. So, but that hooked me. So I'm like, oh, this is really, really cool. You know, I could actually sell stuff here. And even though I probably sold it for less than I paid for it, which I did sell it less than I paid for it, I can still get some of my money back. that was cool. So I was really, really excited about that. So I'm like, I'm going to totally do this. Well, selling on Poshmark. Poshmark is a social media website, basically, as far as selling. You have to, you can't just post something on Poshmark. So if you're going to think about selling on Poshmark, just got to realize you just can't just post your clothes on Poshmark and then go away and say, okay, I'm just going to wait for people to come along and buy my stuff. I do know some people I've read that don't share their closets and don't follow other people and don't share other people's stuff, and they do quite well. But I think too, they've been on Poshmark for a while, so they've built up a clientele and they have a niche of clothing that they sell, so their clientele sees their clothing and they expect it and they can't wait for it and they purchase like that. But for the most people, you have to follow other Poshmark closets and you have to share your closet too. So you have to share it. You want to share it at parties, and you want to follow people so that people follow you back. So that's something, and it takes a lot of work. So I'm not sure if people in other videos they'll tell you, but it does. It takes a lot of work. I can remember when I first started out, I was like, follow every available time. I was following people because I remember looking on a video that the person was saying, okay, when you get 10,000 followers or 20,000 followers, that's when you see consistent sales. Because after that one sale, things kind of went silent for me. So I'm like, okay. And then they said, you want to have at least 100 listings. I'm like, okay, I got to get more clothes. I don't have 100 clothes to sell. I do have a lot of stuff, but I don't want to sell all my stuff. Plus, I had just given away a whole bunch of stuff to Girl Scouts because the Girl Scouts were having this swap swapping clothes, and whatever they had left over, they were going to give it to the homeless shelter. So I didn't have a lot of clothes to give away, but definitely not 100. So I went out to scout for clothes. I went to my friends, and I went to my family, and I went to my neighbors saying, hey, got any clothes that you were going to donate that are gently used, planning on giving, donating? I would take it off your hands. So I was getting clothes and putting it on Poshmark. And this was in the summertime. And two, I was looking at YouTube channels, and people are like, in the summertime it's slow because people are going out and doing things, so they're really not purchasing stuff on Poshmark. So I was thinking, okay, the summertime, give me, and also we had just purchased another house, and I was trying to move from one house to the next house, so I was kind of busy with that too. But so any spare time, I was like following people, following, because I had to get my follow up to 10,000 people. So I just like follow closets. I would just go down the line and follow closets, and then I was sharing my clothes to the parties and just sharing them randomly throughout the day. And I was sharing other people's stuff, and I was liking other people's stuff because they were liking my stuff. So I was spending, it seemed like every spare moment following people, sharing my closet, sharing other people's closet, following liking other people's stuff, sharing to parties. I have to tell you, with that and moving, I think by the end of July, I was exhausted. I was mentally exhausted. I'm like, oh my gosh. Seems like, plus my husband was complaining that I was spending all my time on the Poshmark app. But I did tell him, I said, hey, you know what? People say this, and I wasn't selling a lot of stuff. And I did learn some stuff there, some stuff that I would pass on to you guys that you might want to consider investing in before you list yourself, in case, so you don't have to do what I'm going to be doing this summer, is going back and retaking pictures and relisting stuff. And then two, the people that I find appealing, like I like Ann Taylor, I find that it might not really have a great resale value to it, because I guess maybe you can get a lot of them at thrift stores, so people don't really buy them. But I personally like Ann Taylor. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm too old or something, I don't know. And I remember when I first met my husband, he loved Banana Republic. He would have shirts and all that kind of stuff from them. So it was, wasn't getting a lot of sales. I did get sporadic, sales here and there, but it wasn't a lot. And my husband just felt like the time that I was spending on it. It was discouraging, I have to say, a little bit. But then again, people kept saying, oh, it's, slow during the summertime. So I told my husband, okay, here's what we'll do. Give me until after Christmas to see how it does and to see what, and if it doesn't do very well, I'll just stop it and not do it anymore. So, and I, by the time August came around, the kids were starting to get back into school and I was exhausted, so I was not sharing as much. I had kind of found a sharing that worked for me. Just that I wasn't sharing constantly and I wasn't following constantly. So I did find something that worked for me. Then I had to end up going to visit my dad. So if I say the ugly part about it is it takes a lot of work. And that's one thing I don't feel like. I think there's a lot of video out there and I'm not really sure. Maybe I just don't see all those people. I see a lot of people, what I sold on Poshmark, which I might do myself somewhere down the line, or look at my thrifting hauls, and then look at all the sales that I have and how you can make $10,000 in 6 months. And a lot of people do. A lot of people do really, really well on top Poshmark, and there's a lot of people too that struggle. They have not very many sales, or they don't have any sales at all. Some of that has to do with the people put stuff on Poshmark and they don't think they have to do anything else. You can just put something on Poshmark and be done with it. I don't have to worry about it. My clothes are going to sell. Well, you know what? There's thousands of people selling on Poshmark and thousands of clothes. I think one time at one of the parties, I went to look at the total amount of clothing that was shared. I think it was like 1 million articles of clothing. So that's a lot. So you're definitely competing. And sometimes, some people say pictures have a lot to do with it, or your keywords have a lot to do with it, or the brand of clothing you're selling. But I've seen people, they're not maybe making a lot of money, maybe they're making $8 per clothing, but I've seen people do really, really well selling Target brands. So I'm not really sure if there's a formula out there. I mean, if anything, I would probably say find a niche for yourself. If you can find a niche for yourself, then I think what happens, you'll get people, clientele, people that know your niche and that will keep coming back to your closet to buy on your closet. That would be one suggestion. So really, if I want to say the ugly is that sometimes you could spend a lot of time on, you have to iron or steam your clothing, you have to get it set up, you have to take pictures of it, you have to list it, then you have to share your closet and follow other people. So I think that would be the ugly part, I think, but a bit for sometimes very little return on it. And it depends on your expectations. Again, for me, it was just part-time, something I want to do part-time. The good thing about it is that it is a way to make some extra money with clothes that you have. And I know other people, I generally, when it comes to clothing itself, I get it from myself, my family, my friends, or my neighbors. They know now if they have any clothes that they want to get rid of, they just call me up or text me and let me know, and I go pick them up and I list them. And I will go to thrift stores for purses, because I went for purses for myself anyways. I love unique purses, so I'll go for purses, and I will also go for shoes. I just make sure I clean them really, really well, because definitely want to make sure they're clean. But I also, my husband has a problem with buying shoes at thrift stores, but personally, I bought a lot of really, really cute shoes and unique shoes at thrift stores. So something I probably wouldn't have bought full retail for. So that is usually if I do thrift stores. Then I get books at thrift stores and hard goods at bookstores. Thrift stores, sorry, because I've started selling some of that on eBay. That's another video, the good, bad, and ugly of eBay, because it has its good, bad, and ugly. So some things I would suggest for you to, well, the first thing is to understand that you are going to have to share a lot. You are going to have to follow people, because you definitely going to have to build up, and you definitely have to put, get a variety, not a variety, I'm sorry, range of, can't have just one or, I guess you could have one or two items, but probably you would want to have more items that you're going to sell on Poshmark, unless it's a hot demand item. But the thing about before you start, this is just my opinion, other people can have opinions, but lighting is important. That's one thing I found out. So you either have good lighting in your home by natural lighting, which for us, we don't really have a lot of good natural lighting. We don't have any windows in the front of the house where the sunlight might come in. We just have it in the back of the house, and then we have trees in the back of the house. So very rarely do we have a lot of natural lighting in our home. So artificial lighting was something that I was working with. And for me, it was hard. So definitely, if you don't have natural lighting, I would say invest in lights. Maybe, floodlight, I don't know, maybe floodlights, but invest in lights. That's one thing. The second thing is the background. I know I've seen people have different types of background, but in my opinion, what I've seen in background is a nice background that doesn't distract from the clothing. That's why, there's just one girl that she said she's sold $10,000 worth of merchandise on Poshmark since February. So I went to go look at her closet and say, heck, how is she doing that? I'm not doing that. So I was looking at her closet. One thing I noticed that she's just hanging the stuff up on a wall, and she just has a white wall, and it's nice and clean. And in my opinion, her clothes were standing out by that. So when I first got on Poshmark, I first used the blue background and thought, oh, that's a little bit too busy. And then I got this, you can get wallpaper, paper, that different designs on them. And I got one that was kind of like a wood or something, and I was taking my pictures with that, or brick, and it was a darker color, and I'm thinking, maybe it doesn't look so great. So now my closet's a little bad because I thought, well, okay, the same type of brick, but I'm going to get a lighter brick, and I didn't like that, so I'm switching over to something else. So that's why this summer, when it's slow, when I have more time. Why I say less time, I mean more time. I'm going to go ahead and redo my closet. And make sure you have somewhere, like a empty wall or something, to either put up something on that you can, for a background, or actually just empty wall. That's another thing that I have a problem with. I don't really have very many empty walls, just have one in the hallway. So I took that paper and I was pinning it up on the wall, and I have so many, I'll show you one of these times, so many marks in that wall because I've pinned up in so many different places, because they can't really keep this hallway that you walk down, so I just can't keep that wallpaper up there all the time. Find an area. Fortunately, I don't know if I said fortunately, but if I said fortunately, I meant unfortunately. We have 8 of us in the house, so there's really no empty room that I have that's our office that I could do it in either. So I, hung up on the wall and took, put my my clothes up on hangers and took the pictures up on the wall. And that was something else too. I was just using a plastic hanger, and looking at the pictures afterwards, I'm like, those don't really look that good. So I invested in wooden hangers, which I feel like look much nicer. And then I tried to do flat lays, where you just lay it on the ground on the paper, but I'm not the most artistic person, so it never looked really that great. I see some other closets where they look wonderful, just not me. Unfortunately, I don't have that artistic ability, right brain, left brain thing. So, but I didn't want to spend a lot, I thought about buying lights, I thought about buying mannequins, I thought about buying the backdrops and the stands for the backdrops, but I didn't want to invest a lot of money in it because I wanted to make sure I made money before I invested the money. So I kind of made it hush posh to work together. And I really think, maybe that could have hurt me a little bit. Maybe if I had taken the time and invested the money, because now I'm going back and saying, okay, I'm going to have to invest. Just a couple weeks ago, actually maybe a couple months ago, I purchased a mannequin, and then I purchased just the white backdrop, not the stands, which turned out to be not very great idea, because where the heck, this is like big heavy cloth, And it's like, where am I going to put it up? I tried to put it up on my girl's closet, and it was just too heavy, and it was falling down. And then where I was taking the pictures before, there wasn't, the mannequin doesn't look good there because I can't go back enough to take a picture to show the whole mannequin. And if I do that, you show the railing because the hallway is upstairs. And then trying to find my lighting. I've tried just regular lights around the house, putting that toward it, and it hasn't worked the best. So I really wish now I had just taken the extra money and bought a mannequin, bought lights, bought a backdrop. I wish I had done that. So that, if you have the money to invest in it or find some way, maybe you're more creative, you could get those backdrops at Hobby Lobby for just $10. Get those at, just the paper. Maybe you don't mind. I mean, if you have an extra room, you can just put the paper up on the wall. You don't have to worry about one of those backdrops. So that would the one thing that I wish I had done beforehand. So I would suggest doing that. Also suggest that don't watch those videos and think, oh yeah, I'm going to start off right away. I'm going to sell, and I'm going to make thousands of dollars right away. You know what? People do. But there are a lot of people that don't. It just I remember somebody saying, it takes time. Sometimes I look at people, some of these people have said, I make, this money, and I look, oh, they've been doing this, been on Poshmark since 2015, 2014, 2016. It's, slow and steady. You got to build up a clientele. You got to make changes. And that's something else I would say is don't get discouraged. If you're doing something and it's not working, try something else. You know what? Change the pictures, change your keywords. Because I do see that because I've joined a couple Facebook groups with Poshmark, and I do see that people, get discouraged and it's hard too because they're reading about these people. This one girl, she sold 126 items in one day, and I saw people saying great jobs, and I know people were also thinking frustrated because they're not making a lot of money at it, and they're trying really hard, and they're sharing their closet, and they're following people, and it just is not working out, and they're really, really discouraged. So, change things up, still give it a try, and maybe, understand that you might have to start off as part-time. It might not be something that you can go full-time. And also understand those people that are making lots and lots of money, maybe they have an artistic, or maybe they have a design background, or maybe they have a fashion background. Maybe you don't. I don't. I don't have any of that background. So to me, I don't even know what rag and bone was before I started on Poshmark or Anthropology or Madewell. That's something that I've learned over time. So, and that would be something. That's what I do. I go online and look online now, and I look at magazine now to try to still build up my fashion knowledge. And, but sometimes too, I got to deal with what my friends and families and neighbors are going for. Because at one point I'm thinking, well, you know what? I like shoes, and I like purses, and I like jeans, so maybe I should just stick with that. I get drawn back into all the other stuff because I got to definitely work with what my friends and families give me. So it is. Would I recommend it? Yes. Am I going to stick with it? Yes. Am I going to try to do different stuff? Yes. Am I going to take my husband's advice more often because he keeps saying, I have a marketing background, a selling background. You should really listen to me, and you just ignore me and don't listen to me. So I'm going to definitely take his advice on it. And then I decided to start this challenge. I have to say that as I said, in August, I got discouraged. I wasn't following people as much, and I wasn't I wasn't following people as much. I wasn't sharing as much. So then I started picking up on it, and I started getting more and more sales on that. And then November came around, and I wasn't feeling very well, and so I kind of stopped doing that a lot, so things slowed down. But actually, I wasn't really sharing at all during December, and I actually still got sales. So you can still get sales without even sharing, but you're not going to get a lot, and it depends on how much items you have in your closet. But then I started picking up a little bit, and then in the beginning of February, we found out that my Father-in-law has terminal cancer. So, so from February till just recently, I think beginning of April, I've kind of not been doing a lot on Poshmark because I just haven't had the mental ability to do it right now. Just with what's happening with him is just put me into a depression. So I just started picking up on it, and I've decided that I need to. There's something called the 30-minute method. It's a method that was I don't know what you want to call it. A group came up with it. I'm going to start doing that. Start every day. I've started back doing that, and then starting January. Not January. Did I just say January? I meant June 1st. I'm going to share my closet 5 times a day and see what happens. So, if you come along with me starting June 1st, I'm going to share my closet and I will give an update here on how it goes. I'll give you an everyday update on, how many followers I have, how many likes I have, if I've sold anything, because that's one thing people always say, you gotta share, 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 share. I do work from home, and my work is busy, and I have 6 kids, so I'm taking them, and they're active kids, so I'm taking them a lot of places. So I don't share as much as I should, so I can't honestly tell you that Poshmark is 2 thumbs down because I don't share it like I should be, and I don't list as much as I should be listing. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to list at least 5 items a day for the month of June, and I'm going to share 5 times a day. And I'm going to come back, and I'm going to let you guys know every day how it went and how it goes, and we'll test that out and see. And I'm going to do the 30-minute method also and see how that goes. So don't get discouraged. If you have any questions, just put them down below. I'll be happy to answer that. Join some Facebook groups. There's some really, really good Facebook groups for Poshmark that they are so helpful, and they're really, really helpful and encouraging. And definitely join some of those, and understand that people that are on YouTube, some of them have been around a long, long time. So, if you're going out the gate and you're not doing $1,000 worth of sales a day or a week, don't get discouraged. Keep it up. In the end, you're selling your clothes that you've already purchased. So a lot of the times, and maybe you're, thrifting. You know what? Maybe you like a deal. I mean, I like going to stores and finding a deal. We have about an hour from us, we have upscale outlet that has, Gucci and Kate Spade and all that, and I like going over there to see if there's any deals over there. As a matter of fact, we were just there this week, and I think, was it Gucci? My girls were looking at the Gucci. It was, they had some pants that were at Gucci's for like only $99. So I'm like, oh, I should get them. But I promised my husband, it was on Mother's Day, I promised him I wouldn't buy anything at Gucci. So I didn't. I think it was Gucci. But yeah, so please come back. It's been great. Bye.